We're all getting ready to eat turkey. Good to have you with us on Ed Schultz News and Commentary the day before Thanksgiving. But I'm going to throw up before I start eating, because if I hear one more liberal start whining about the popular vote and how this election has to be contested, all it's going to do is dig the Democratic and progressive credibility further into the crap hole that it's in right now. It's time for some straight talk. The fact is that the Democrats and the Clinton campaign and all these bozos that thought that she should have been president of the United States and was a lot better candidate than Bernie Sanders, none of them were concerned about the popular vote before the election. You can't find one story out there that says, well, we're really concerned about the popular vote. We really think we're going to get more votes than Donald Trump because we got more votes than Bernie Sanders, and that's really the way it's got to be. When it works in their favor, that was one of the big talking points that the Democrats had when they were trying to deep six Bernie Sanders, is that, well, Hillary has just won 3 million more people. You know where those folks came from? Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, and a host of southern states that were never going to vote Democratic anyway. Nobody was going to win them but the righties, and that's Trump. So now that they have got Trump going to the White House and Trump on a roll with his transition team and picking Republican after Republican, nothing bipartisan at all about his cabinet so far. Now they're whining about, well, we got to make sure we get the popular vote and the Electoral College changes all this. No. Just shut up and get to work on protecting Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and make sure that you get this delicate selection process, well in hand for the next time around, so the second mistake isn't made again. Talk about infighting. It's there, and I can't wait to have a lot of it with liberal groups that totally miss this. Look, they're going to go after the National Labor Relations Board. The very people that voted for Trump in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin, just give them about 6 months and they're going to be pissed off, okay? And they're going to realize that they did the wrong thing. Trump isn't going to be able to get these great trade agreements that's going to bring all of these jobs back. That's not going to happen. The fact is it's just too much of a heavy lift in Congress. There's going to be too much obstruction when it comes to that subject. But they had to learn their lesson. Trump's going to get his 4 years. Who knows? Maybe he'll get impeached. But that's not the right way to go either, in my opinion. You got to win people's hearts and minds over, and that's what the Democrats didn't do. And the down ballot in the previous years leading up to 2016 for the Republicans has been pretty damn successful. You could make the case that Reince Priebus has done as good a job as anybody in the history of the RNC when it comes to chairing the party. So stop with the popular vote talk. You knew exactly what the rules were. That's what you told Bernie Sanders. You knew what the rules were on the delegates before we even started voting. And so now what goes around comes around. Joe Biden says he's not interested in the DNC job. Who the hell would go from vice president of the United States to being the head of the DNC? And he has to make a statement saying he's not interested in that? Joe Biden's a government guy. He's a great guy. Everybody loves him. Probably one of the most popular VPs of the history of the country. And he's going to go right on the rubber chicken circuit, and he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to make more money as he's ever made before. He might even write a book. He's going to do all kinds of stuff outside of government, and he's going to figure out, this ain't all that bad. He'll make hay on his name and his experience, and he should. And he's a great talker. So, no, when I read that, well, he's not interested in the DNC job. Well, Joe, I hope you haven't given it much consideration, because your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations should be a lot higher than that after, 45 years of public service or whatever it is? Donald Trump has said that he's not going to go after Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Hold the phone on that. Let's talk Social Security. If you recall, back in March, Trump, in a debate, says it would hurt too many people. Here's what he said.
The Democrats are doing nothing with Social Security. They're leaving it the way it is. In fact, they want to increase it. They want to actually give more. And what we're up against, and whether we like it or not, that is what we're up against. I will do everything within my power not to touch Social Security, to leave it the way it is, to make this country rich again, to bring back our jobs, to get rid of deficits, to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, which is rampant in this country, rampant, totally rampant. And it's my absolute intention to leave Social Security the way it is, not increase the age, and to leave it as is. You have 22 years. You have a long time to go. It's not long in terms of what we're talking about, but it's still a long time to go. And I want to leave Social Security as is. I want to make our country rich again so we can afford it.
That's pretty interesting, because there's a guy named Tom Leppert, the Trump transition team point guy on Social Security. In the past, he has been just an advocate big time of privatization and cutting the retirement program, and raising the age, which Trump says he doesn't want to do, and privatizing the program. Now, liberals and millennials, if you should be interested in this, because it's going to come your way someday. And I've paid into it for years, and I hope it's going to be there. I don't trust Paul Ryan, but this is where the bear and the buckwheat is for Donald Trump. He eased the pain and a lot of fears of senior citizens in this country and people in their 50s and 60s who are counting on this being there, when he said he wasn't going to go after it, and it was his intention. But this Leppert guy has got a reputation of trying to privatize it. Now, what you got to understand is that when George Bush was reelected in 2004, the first trip he made in 2005 was to Fargo, North Dakota, to start his privatization tour. And it failed. It didn't work. Congress said no to it. They blocked it. Wasn't going to happen. Trump's Social Security transition team is stacked with people who want to cut and privatize the system, according to Nancy Altman, co-director of the group Social Security Works. When we come back, Alex Lawson will join us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary, talking about just that. Stay with us. Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team bring you Ed Schultz News and Commentary. We're right back. Hey, folks, you've heard me talk about BioGreen Clean. I'm going to show you right now on my airplane just how tough this is. I want you to keep in mind, chemical-free, 100% plant-derived, biodegradable. It is the safest cleaner that you can get, and it's the most effective. Go to our website, wegoted.com, or go to biogreenclean.com. www.biogreenclean and order today.
We perpetuate a culture of crime all the way from Wall Street right down to the main street in our hometowns. It's worse than it has been since FDR took control of the problem and said we can't count on industry taking care of the American labor. They probably have already engaged into some type of criminal cover-up, and the law prohibits the government from even doing anything about it.
Catch America's lawyer Mike Papantonio on YouTube at youtube.com/GoLeftTV.
WeGotEd.com is the website. And, of course, you can check out my programs at RT.com. Do the news Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern. International newscasts. A lot going on, isn't there? All right, now, look. Okay, so you're anti-Trump. I got it. You're a lefty. You're worried. But Trump has said some things about Social Security that are very, very interesting. We just played you the cut from a debate back in March. And he really hasn't said much about it since then. But as I pointed out, that some of the folks that are surrounding Trump right now are all for privatization, raising the age. We all know what Paul Ryan's about. As long as, look, if Paul Ryan is in the meeting, then there's always going to be a push for privatization. Just remember that, folks. If Paul Ryan is in the meeting, he's for abolishing the minimum wage. I mean, he's an anti-worker guy. And as long as Paul Ryan is in the room, he's going to be anti-union. And so at the end of the day, when it comes to Medicare, Medicaid, and what we're talking about now, Social Security, these people want to reform it in their view. All right, let's go to Alex Lawson. He's the executive director, Social Security Works. Alex, good to have you with us.
Thanks, Ed. Great to be here.
You bet. Do we believe Trump on Social Security? Where are we?
Not at all. It was clear even during the campaign that, like many things, Trump had an instinct about the politics. He knew that it was bad politics to talk about the plans to destroy Social Security and hand it over to the greedy liars on Wall Street. But at the same time, he was sending his aides into the rooms filled with greedy liars from Wall Street to ensure them that once he had power, he would do just that and dismantle Social Security and sell it off brick by brick. And you only have to look at the appointments that he's made. You only have to look at what he said about Medicare to understand that not only is he going to come after our Medicare and Social Security, it's literally going to be the first thing on their agenda.
Okay. I want to know about Social Security Works. Tell our audience about your organization, what you do, and how you're fighting this.
So Social Security Works, we fight to protect and expand Social Security. And we have a very expansive view of Social Security that's in line with the view of the people who created Social Security. So people like Francis Perkins and FDR and Eleanor Roosevelt, who saw that Social Security was just a building block on which a much bigger system would be built. They'd be very disappointed in us that we don't have a national health care system right now. They expected it to be, only a few years down the road, but here we are 81 years later, and not only do we not have national Medicare for all, we're going to be facing a fight for the life of Medicare starting January 21st of next year. So Social Security Works is an organization that fights to protect and expand Social Security with an understanding that it's about economic security from birth, and that is a very American understanding of the system. So
you just described that they're after the New Deal. I mean, that's really
exactly.
Yeah, it's really what these conservatives want to do right now. And you believe that Trump basically is a liar, that he said what was politically expedient at the time, but his aides are telling the Wall Streeters, get ready, we're going to privatize it, and this is going to be a boatload of money coming your way that you're going to be able to invest it and eventually, rip off the American people. And that's really, it's putting Social Security in the hands of the greedy on Wall Street is what it's doing. The majority of Americans don't want any changes. Isn't that correct?
The vast majority. More people believe in the Loch Ness Monster than want cuts to Social Security. And in fact, the majority of people, regardless of political affiliation, want to expand Social Security. They understand how important it is.
Yeah. Okay. So the Democrats are only positioned right now politically to filibuster any of this. And there's a real soul-searching process taking place on the left right now. Are you confident that the Democrats will be able to defend what has been in place for 81 years?
Let me say what I am confident in. What I'm confident in is that we can organize the American people, regardless of political affiliation, to fight against attempts to destroy Social Security and Medicare. Okay. Literally no one voted to destroy Social Security and Medicare. This fight is going to be won out in America by mobilizing millions of people to stand up and say, no, I am not going to allow you to take my money, my earned benefits that I paid for through my working life and hand them over to your greedy liar friends on Wall Street in exchange for campaign contributions. Mm-hmm. And when we amplify the voice of the American people, I am confident that we will win.
Okay. What would be, give us your crystal ball if they did privatize it. How do we know that it wouldn't be better? Let me play devil's advocate here. How do we know that the market wouldn't take off and there would be peaks and valleys, but in the long haul that it would offer more security to it? What do you make of that?
So the problem with that understanding is that it starts from a flawed premise, that Social Security is a sort of savings program, right? So that the right metric to use is a a return on investment, right? But the problem with that is that Social Security is an insurance program. It's a wage insurance program. It has three pieces of wage insurance. Retirement insurance, which I think most people are familiar with. It's an inflation-protected annuity, plus disability insurance and life insurance. So the thing is, if you have fire insurance on your house, right, and your house does not burn down, if you calculate that with return on investment, you got a very poor return on your investment, right, because your house didn't burn down. On the other hand, your house didn't burn down. So if an American worker does not face a life-changing disability through their working life and never needs the disability insurance that Social Security provides, then that would be a, quote, poor return on investment.
Yeah.
So the thing is, there is no ability on the private side to provide the insurance that Social Security provides.
Okay, so what has happened over the years is that the Congress has borrowed against the assets of Social Security. And so when they say that they're not going to be able to pay out full benefits beyond 2034, this is the reason, isn't it?
It's not actually totally true. The thing is, there's a coordinated attack by the greedy liars on Wall Street to undermine confidence in the system. And the con goes like this. They want to convince people that they will get nothing. Therefore, they would accept less than they're owed. So they want people to believe that they're not going to get what they are owed. The money is there. We will get the benefits that we paid for unless we allow Donald Trump and Paul Ryan and his criminal friends on Wall Street to take the benefits away right now.
Okay. Alex Lawson, always good to visit. Appreciate your time, and it is going to be one of the early battles. I would imagine that the president would talk about this in the State of the Union address. I would imagine Mr. Trump would lay out his roadmap. He's not going to be able to do this in Congress without talking to the people about it. At least that's what I'm anticipating. We'll see. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ed.
You bet. Executive Director of Social Security Works. This is Ed Schultz, News and Commentary. Have a great Thanksgiving. We're back tomorrow.